What's going on, Dolphins fans? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Hope everybody watching had themselves a very Merry Christmas. I know I had a great time with family, great time watching some football and basketball games. So we didn't obviously put up this video yesterday. We usually do on Mondays. We were both just too tired to record when we got home from the game on Sunday, which was obviously a great day for the Miami Dolphins as we clinched the playoffs. But these are the 5 things that we learned in the victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, and the man of the game MVP, Jason Sanders, 5 of 5, 3 of 3 from field goals beyond 50 yards. There was a time last year where we were seriously talking about whether the Miami Dolphins should find a way to move on from Jason Sanders, and it was valid. He had had himself a pretty horrid time since signing that large contract, had no real impressive stats, was just a middle of the road field goal kicker, and you were really concerned about his ability to make clutch field goals coming down the end of the season. And then last year, that game against the Jets just completely transformed our mentality when it comes to Jason Sanders, where he single-handedly won us that game against the Jets. And that form that he saw last year has continued over into this season, has been near perfect, and every time he's been called upon has delivered kick after kick after kick, and that 5 for 5, 3 for 3 from 50 and beyond was what won us the game on Sunday. The Cowboys defense, we went over in the preview. They're really good at stopping teams from getting into the red zone. They can give up some yards, but they are a bend don't break, kind of similar to us. They are a little bit more aggressive than the Miami Dolphins are, but we kept getting downfield, we kept moving, we kept getting the ball to about the 30-yard line, and the drive would stall. And then Jason Sanders came through, delivered. And when you're coming to the playoffs, when you're playing against really good teams, where every single team has a chance, really, once you're in the playoffs, that's all you need. You have that chance to win the Super Bowl. You need to find a way to get every single point you possibly can. There are some questionable play calls by Mike McDaniel, including going for it on 4th and goal from the 5-yard line and doing a fade route to Cedric Wilson when he didn't have Jalen Waddle on the field because he just got poked in the eye. But whenever called upon, Jason Sanders came in clutch, and that is a breath of fresh air for this team that we know that if the offense sputters a little bit, we might be without Raheem Mostert, maybe without Jalen Waddle, that we do have almost a guaranteed 3 points in the bank based off that performance that we saw from Jason Sanders on Sunday. Number 3, we finally got to see the Dolphins win a big game against a big team. The first win this season against a team with a winning record for about 10 minutes. We had that with the Denver Broncos having a winning record, but that's quickly gone away as they got embarrassed at home by the New England Patriots. We saw against the Buffalo Bills earlier this season, the Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Every single time we've come against a team with a winning record, that's how we found our losses outside of the game against Tennessee, where we just got out-physicaled. We finally got to see us go head-to-head with a especially pretty similar team in the Dallas Cowboys, a team that loves to throw the ball. Dak and Tua, they're right there. You say Dak's better, you say Tua's better. I'm not going to argue too much. They're right there in the same conversation. Both have top 5 wide receivers, Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb. Defenses, they're, again, comparable. They're definitely not the best defenses in the league, but they're both, I'd say, between top 5 and top 8, especially in the second half of the season. They both have their weaknesses on defense, but they both have some stellar players. They can get to the quarterback. They can make some interceptions to make some plays happen. So to do this against a team that that you're very comparable to, a team that's really good, a team that had just about 50% of the stadium was their fans. It was really a 50-50 split between Dolphins and Cowboys, and it wasn't an easy game. It came down to the very last moment. We thought we let the game away with that touchdown with 3.5 minutes to go, and then Tua, give him credit. He drove us downfield, didn't score a touchdown. He didn't score a touchdown, but he put us in position. The offense put us in position to win the game. Chip shot field goal. Jason Sanders wins it, and we got to do that against a really good team in the Dallas Cowboys. That a lot of people, including myself, I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win that game. So to see the Dolphins come ahead against a really good team, the Dallas Cowboys, was a breath of fresh air. Number 4, we can finally exhale. The Dolphins have officially clinched the playoffs. I made a video about 2 weeks ago saying there was a real path to the Dolphins missing the playoffs. I was concerned going into that Jets game. That obviously didn't come to fruition. And then the Cowboys, it was a back-and-forth game. Anybody really could have won it. We had the ball last, kicked the field goal as time expired, but if that game had gone on another 6 minutes, who would have known, really, what would have happened in that game? The Dallas Cowboys, very good team. Again, I predicted us to lose. So that narrative is done. That worry is done. We can exhale, let go of that stress, that tension, that worry that I was definitely feeling. Donovan, not quite as much. He was a lot more confident than I was. And look, I chalked it up to I've been a Dolphins fan. I've been a South Florida sports fan my whole life. I've been let down so many times, and I know this is a different era. I know this is a different team, but it just I feel it's just natural to worry about those moments. Worrying just at the very least to make sure you get in. So the job's finished on that end. Still have some more to play for, which I'll talk about with the next point. But being in the playoffs, you at the very least have a chance. And you felt that tension just released when Jason Sanders kicked that field goal. I go to every single game. I was there. Stadium erupted, and then just the joyous atmosphere walking out of that stadium was palpable. It was, if you could contain that and you could sell that feeling, that would be as good as any drug. Just knowing that we beat a good team, we're in the playoffs, don't have to worry as much about these next couple of games as much it gets for the playoffs. Now we're starting to look beyond and look what's going to happen if we win these next few games, or a whole sort of things that could happen in these next 2 weeks. Number 5, there's still a lot to play for in these next 2 games, starting with next week against the Baltimore Ravens. We cannot clinch the number 1 seed as they won last night against the San Francisco 49ers. So if we win next week, we have the tiebreaker over them to get the number 1 seed. If we win out, we win next week, we win against the Bills, that's the simplest way. You have the number 1 seed. We get that bye week, get people rested up, ready to go for that divisional round game for whoever that is against, and that is going to be a home game. If we win the next 2 games, the playoffs runs through Miami until we lose or till we make it to the Super Bowl. We're still going to learn a lot about this team. The Ravens, they are the best team in football. They just beat, at the time, the best team in football. Made Brock Purdy look like a system backup, which maybe he is. We're going to find out a lot about him in these next couple weeks and when they make it to the playoffs. But we know the Baltimore Ravens are the toughest test we've had on our schedule in Baltimore. They're flying high after the win they just had. They know how to win. They know their system better than anybody because everybody's having a hard time stopping it. And then Buffalo Bills, they narrowly edged out that win against the Chargers, but they're still a very good football team. And if we win both of those games, no matter what else happens, we have that number 1 seed. There's still other possibilities of ways we can get to the number 1 seed, but it starts with winning next week. If the Ravens win next week, I'm pretty sure they have it clinched for the number 1 seed. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker is between them and Cleveland, because Cleveland somehow is still in the mix. Who would have thought Joe Flacco, 4 quarterbacks later into the season, the Cleveland Browns still have a very realistic chance of getting the number 1 overall seed. If we win next week and then lose against the Bills and they win both games, they have the number 1 seed. It's absolutely maddening to think that the team or the player that was on the team last year that we beat to get into the playoffs in the Jets, who scored just a handful of points last year in that game, a team led by that quarterback and Joe Flacco, potentially could have the number 1 seed. When they traded for Deshaun Watson, gave him all that money, tried 2 other quarterbacks before him. It's absolutely insane, but it's going to be a fun time to watch football. You have that burden off your shoulders knowing that no matter what, we're making the playoffs, and now it's just about how far can we go. What is this team capable of? Starting to get a little healthier. Teron Armstead still hasn't picked up another injury. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. You hope Javon Holland returns next week. You hope Raheem Mostert plays next week. We'll see what happens with Jalen Waddle just for the entirety of the season, when/if he comes back. But it's exciting. Enjoy this. I hope everybody, again, have themselves a very good Christmas. Enjoy their holidays. It's going to be a nice New Year's Eve. Having the Dolphins play on New Year's Eve. It's my mom's birthday, so we're going to be able to watch that. Hopefully, get the Dolphins, watch the Dolphins get a win, and then go out and enjoy the night there. But that is it here for me. You'll see from Donovan tomorrow. We should be having our live stream for the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow. So tune in for that, 7 o'clock. Till then, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know down in the comments your takeaways from the game that we saw the Dolphins beating the Dallas Cowboys. We appreciate y'all very much for watching. Thank y'all. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.